AITA for telling my mom that her remarriage made me prefer my dad as a parent. And it's her fault we aren't as close anymore. When I was 5, my parents divorced. Looking back, I was too young to fully understand the reasons behind it. But the emotional toll it took on me was immense. I didn't know how to deal with the separation, and I felt like my whole world had been turned upside down. My dad and I had a close bond, and I had always felt safe and loved by him. But the divorce shifted everything in my life. 2 years after the divorce, my mom remarried. She married Dan, who had a daughter from a previous relationship, Delilah. Delilah is about a year older than me, and while she's nice, we've never been close. It's like she and her dad were just two strangers in my life that I was expected to accept as part of my new reality. I've always had trouble connecting with them, and I think part of that comes from the fact that, for me, they've never felt like family. Growing up after the divorce, my dad and I created our own traditions. Thanksgiving, for example, was always spent with him. The first year after the divorce, my dad burned the turkey, and we ended up having Chinese food instead. That became our tradition. Every year, we'd share Chinese food on Thanksgiving. It became a special moment for us. I loved those holidays because it was just the two of us spending time together, and I could always count on him to make me feel like I mattered. While my mom remarried and started her life with Dan and Delilah, my dad never dated anyone. He always told me that I would always be his #1 priority and that maybe when I got married and moved out, he'd consider dating. I always felt like he genuinely meant it. My boyfriend has jokingly compared him to Charlie from Twilight, and while it's awkward, I kind of get it. He's been my steady rock, and he always made me feel like I was his main focus. When my mom remarried, things began to change between us. At first, I was excited that she had found someone new, and I hoped it would mean good things for our family. But as time went on, I began to feel like I was losing her. She started prioritizing Dan and Delilah, and our time together became more and more limited. It felt like I was being pushed to the background, and I never felt like I was as important to her as I once was. I noticed that every time I visited her, Dan and Delilah were always there. There was never just mom and me time anymore. It was always mom, Dan, and Delilah, and I just had to fit in where I could. It left me feeling isolated and neglected. I didn't have a say in the matter, and I felt like my mom had made the decision for me that she was choosing this new family over me. It was painful, and I never knew how to talk about it without feeling like I was being unfair or selfish. As I grew older, it didn't get better. I continued to spend the holidays with my dad because he would be alone otherwise, and he always made me feel welcome. Mom, on the other hand, didn't seem to have the same urgency to spend time with me. She was always busy with Dan and Delilah, and I felt like a second-class citizen in my own family. I just couldn't shake the feeling that I was no longer a priority to her. Even as an adult, it feels like my mom's life revolves around her new family. I continued spending most of my holidays with my dad, and he's the one who makes me feel seen and heard. This isn't a criticism of her finding happiness, but rather, it's about the fact that I never had a choice in the matter. I didn't get to keep my mom all to myself. She didn't give me that chance. Recently, my mom brought up how hurt she feels because she thinks I'm much closer to my dad than to her. She asked me to come to Thanksgiving with her this year, and I didn't know how to respond. I told her that the reason I'm closer to my dad is because he has always placed me first. He's always been there for me, while she has spent most of her time prioritizing her new family. I told her that I never got the chance to just spend time with her. It was always about Dan and Delilah, and I was left to feel like I didn't matter. I tried to explain to her that I've always felt left out and that her decision to make Dan and Delilah her family, while not giving me that same space in her life, had a significant impact on me. She's always made it clear that her relationship with them was her priority, and I was left in the background. I never got the chance to bond with her in the way that I needed. When I said this, my mom was understandably upset. She said that she had the right to move on and find happiness, and I agreed with her. I told her that I understood, but the difference was that my dad never remarried and always put me first. I explained that this is why my relationship with him is so much stronger. She said it hurt her feelings, and she mentioned that the extended family had commented on how close I am with my dad and not her. Now, things feel even more strained between us. I understand why my mom would be hurt, but at the same time, I don't think I said anything wrong. I didn't try to hurt her on purpose, but I needed to be honest about how I felt. My mom chose to make Dan and Delilah her family, and while I understand that, I never got to choose. I never got to be her first priority the way I was with my dad. It's not about punishing her for moving on. It's about expressing how it affected me and our relationship. I feel conflicted because I love my mom, and I know she has a right to move on and be happy, but it's hard for me to feel like I have to justify my closeness with my dad. He has always been there for me. He's the one who made me feel valued. And it's difficult to ignore that when it comes to my relationship with my mom. I'm not sure how to repair things, and I don't know if I've been too harsh. So, AITA?